Welcome to the Python mini course. My name is Robert Deland. Alright, great. Why don't we start by just making sure that we can all open the Python shell. So if you are on a Windows machine, then you should be able to find the command prompt and just open the command prompt. And if Python is installed, you should be able to just type Python. Let me see if I can. Nope, I don't see how to make that bigger, but I can at least maximize it. You should be able to type Python at the prompt, and then it should say something like Python 2.7.2, blah, 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 type help for more information. If you are on a Mac, you should be able to open the terminal, which is the Mac name for the same thing that in Windows they call command window. And you should also be able to type Python, and you should see something very similar, probably even down to the triple arrow at the command prompt. Okay, so has everyone gotten that far?
Mac says warning, the version of TLO/2K 8.5.7 in use may be unstable.
That's fine. We won't use we won't use tickle.
So I'm in the right place though.
Yes.
It says that something like that.
Yeah. Okay, let's go ahead and write our first program. So if you type print and then single quote or double quote, hello world, and then end the quote expression with the same quote that you used, either single quote or double quote. And now you press enter. What you should see is the computer just told you hello world. So this is not per se writing a program. What we've done is we've given a single command to the shell, and the shell has executed that single command at a single time. So Python is what is called a scripting language. And what that means is there's a magical machine inside your computer that knows how to do stuff when that stuff is written in Python. And it will go through each line and execute that line by line. So we have, in some sense, written a Python program, but we gave it the line ourselves. We were the ones that were generating the lines. It is also possible, and this is the way that we will normally do things, to write a text file and cause Python to execute the whole text file all at once. Of course, from Python's point of view, it's the same thing whether we are giving it an instruction one at a time or just giving it a whole series of instructions that it executes one after another. But from our point of view as users, it's normally a whole lot easier to do things by taking a file and rerunning the file, because if we change one thing in the file, we don't have to retype in the whole thing every time. So why don't we go ahead and start by making a new text file on the desktop, and for the moment we'll just call this temp, and I'm going to rename it temp.py for a moment, for a reason that will become clear in a moment. So you can do this in any working directory that you want to. You can do it on your desktop, whatever is your preferred location. So I'm going to go ahead and close my Python window. And now that I've got this guy, I'm going to right-click and edit with idle. Probably most of you have a editor called idle that's installed on your computer. So if you click on it, one of the options that will be there is to edit the program with idle. And if you can, it would be better to do that. If not, then you can edit it with any old text editor. So idle is basically a text editor, but it has an extra shell. Okay? So let's now be clear about what you're seeing on the screen. On the left is the text file that we just created. On the right is a new Python shell. So this Python shell is just like the Python shell that we opened from the command window, except now we're not running it through the command window, we're just running it through idle. But it's the same shell. Like, you type in a command one at a time, and it will execute that command. So over here, we could do print hello world, and it would tell us hello world. Same thing. So this shell is the same as that other shell, it's just a different copy of the shell. What we have over here is a text file, and at the moment the text file is empty. So here's the difference. If I type in print hello world in the text file and then I press enter, what I've done is I've edited the text file so that it now has a command in it that says print hello world. But the shell doesn't execute that command because this is just a text file. If I want the shell to execute that, then what I do is go to run and I say run module. And then it says, whoa, 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 hold on. You gotta save your file as it is before I'm gonna run that. And you say, okay, that's fine. So I just saved it, and now what it did is it ran this script. Okay, so those are two different things to us, and they are the same thing to the Python shell. So what we did was, before, we told the shell directly, hey, do this, and then it did it. What we did here was we told idle, hey, please run this script through the shell. So then the idle machine said, okay, Python, I'm going to give you a whole bunch of lines in a row, and I want you to just do them. And it did them. Now, in this case, they were the same line. So the end result to us is the same thing. And the end result was the same for the Python shell. It doesn't care whether it's getting the instructions from us or from a text file. It's the same thing to the shell. And that is what it means to be a scripting language. Okay, there's another type of language called a compiled language, and I'm not going to talk about what that is. If you want to ask me about that later, you're welcome to. But anyways, you know everything you need to know about scripting languages in order to use Python. So the take-home points so far are, Python is a scripting language. You can enter commands directly into the shell, or you can type them into a text file and then run the text file through the shell. Those are the take-home points. Now, once we start building more complicated and elaborate programs, you will start to understand exactly why it's very desirable to write in a text file and then run the text file. It's so that you don't have to redo everything all the time. Okay, now that we have talked about the shell, let's talk about some of the very basic things that you need to know to understand computer programming. Okay, so what we have here is called a command. So this print hello world, that's a command. It's called a command. So it has two parts. There is the name of the function that you're going to execute, and that name is print. And then there is the argument to the function. Okay? So everyone, I think, most of us are linguists, we know what function and argument mean.